So, hello and welcome. My name's Steve Nobel, and today I'm speaking with Z on breaking free of the false matrix. Z works with Angelic Support for ascending humanity. She is a multidimensional energy healer and works with Gaia Consciousness, creation magic, and sacred sexual energy wisdom teachings. She has explored in depth the multidimensional technologies and distortions which trap human consciousness and spirit, from planetary grid damage caused by ritual abuse and human trafficking to mind control technologies and optical implants spread by pornography and television. Her website is earthstar.tk and it will be going out with this podcast. Hi Z.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk with your people.
Oh, it's great because we're kind of in a similar zone, I think. Starseeds helping people break free of the matrix. We're both doing that. I read a bit on your website about how you woke up, and can you just say something about your awakening?
Yeah, so I woke up in March of 2013, and at the time I had just quit normal university as a classical pianist. I was this totally quiet, little, studious Chinese girl, if you can imagine it, and I didn't even know what chakras were. I'm sitting in the back of a taxi cab one day, and this voice in my head asked me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I don't know, China," and it was like, "Andromeda." I'm like, whoa. So I went home and I Googled beings from Andromeda, and that's when I first came into all of this stuff about starseeds on the internet. And my awakening kind of really just accelerated immediately after that. I lost my home, I lost all my belongings, I became homeless, and then Spirit just took me on a very long 7-year journey of embodying my true galactic self. And over many years of dreaming and shamanic work and healing, I started to remember that I was actually a geneticist in the 6th dimension in my previous incarnation before coming here to Earth. And in that lifetime, I assisted in starseeds and coming here to Earth by helping us program certain codes and packets of information so that incarnating on Earth would be a little easier. And so as I started awakening to these parts of myself and the memories and experiences that I have in that dimension, doing this energy work on people where I would be accessing their energy body from this higher perspective, and I would be able to see kind of the experiences that they have and that they are bringing to the Earth, and of course then the distortions and damage to the DNA that have occurred inside the false matrix. And that's kind of what kicked me off. I would often get taken into public places, like shopping malls is my team's favorite. They just think that it's such a delicious, delightful selection of insights that you can get from sitting inside a shopping mall. So they would often take me to the shopping mall when I was integrating, and I would just sit there and watch people and the energy systems of the people and the mall for many hours at a time. And this was happening all the time at that point in my awakening. And that's really when I started really studying how the false matrix is created by our energy system. This is how our energy was hijacked and stolen into creating something that actually enslaves us, and also then the specifics of how different parts of our energy system are blocked up and are siphoned into this false reality.
Wow, can you say something about the history of this disconnection that humanity has suffered? I guess it's not a short history, it's a long history, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's very interesting is that over the last few days, me and my star family have been looking up things about Tartaria and the mud floods, which have maybe happened 200 years ago. And the interesting thing is, over the last couple of years, I've been exploring this concept of beyond amnesia. Like, I didn't want to read things that people have written because it's hard to find like true information out there these days about history. It all felt a little made up or skewed to me when I would look at it. And so I started trying to connect with just the true memory of the time field on the Earth, bypassing human stories and narratives and just going right to how the timelines actually unfolded. And when I did that, it just really felt to me like something major happened, and not too long ago. Like, it didn't feel like humanity had been in a great state of forgetting for tens of thousands of years, even though that's what a lot of historians and history keepers would say. It actually feels like this great forgetting happened, maybe a new level of it happened pretty recently. And it feels like a really strong memory wipe. Like it's like over a generation of two. And we can see it almost as an echo as well. So I think time happens in a very different way than how most people perceive it. It's not just this linear thing, but I think that it actually, as a lot of people know, it spirals and it undulates. So it's not always passing in the same speed. And sometimes we get echoes of previous times. And so, for example, this reliance with technology and being controlled by technology is a trauma echo from, let's say, Atlantis. And I feel that this mind wipe that happened, I believe, just a couple of 100 years ago is another trauma echo from the times of the fall of Egypt. And so it's very interesting to experience these sorts of timeline things with my own third eye, because this is kind of what I've been receiving over the last little while.
Wow, beautiful. Now, could you say something about the false matrix and how it's held up, how it's kind of held in place?
Yes, okay. So, so everybody have seen the movie The Matrix. It's talking about this control system and how humanity are kind of in the simulation and we're being tricked some way to create this world that doesn't suit or favor us. But I think I'd like to make a distinction here, because a matrix is just a system of lattices of light. And so any physical reality or realities which have dimensions, technically there would be matrices of light that create the structure of it. And so I would like to make the distinction between the false matrix and the organic matrix, because there is a organic matrix of light where all the vortexes and the quantas and the light particles of that organic matrix are connected to source and are one flowing living system. Now, in the false matrix, those living beings are shifted by frequency to no longer feed on the energies of the organic matrix. So like living light, like love, like enjoyment, like community, like this oneness. In the false matrix, separation is actually the virus or the weapon that is created to keep people in a place of believing that they are separate. And this separation, this belief of separation, keeps them in the false matrix that is slightly skewed from the frequencies of the organic matrix. And from just them believing that and being there and living life. So how I saw this visually was, one time I was at the mall and I was looking at people's energy systems, and I saw that people were disconnected from the top. So the crown chakra was blocked off by various religious programming and false spiritual beliefs, or the complete lack of spiritual beliefs. And throughout the chakra systems, especially on the bottom and the earth star chakra, are also completely blocked off, like they didn't actually feel this visceral connection with the earth. There was no give or take. There was no energy exchange between the body and the earth. And so what happened was that then they are looking out of their eyes, they're projecting their energy into this field that's completely separate from the actual reality, if that makes sense, or if that is a visceral enough image.
Yeah.
And so when they live and they express themselves, so they pay money, they breathe, they sing, they go to work, they express their energy in any way, they're actually participating and giving their energy into creating this false matrix. And it's amazing how an entire society of people have been fooled into doing this. It's actually quite genius, actually. I am looking at him like, wow, like these beings are very organized and they really know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's clever, all right? It's very clever. Well, let me ask you something about the programming that humanity is subject to in the false matrix, because you mentioned separation was one of the core things, but the fear, anger, violence, extreme materialism, not enough, unworthiness, breeding programs. Can you say something about what we're subjected to? Because it feels like humanity at the moment is just going crazy.
Well, you made quite a good list right there, right off the bat.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Like, just they're so subtle that most people won't even realize that they are really insidious and distorted belief systems. But just the fact that the world is scary and nothing is sacred, and I think I'm not sacred is the biggest reversal code program that really gives birth to the rest of them. This belief that we need to give our energy in order to survive in some way that doesn't appease or fulfill us at all. But at the end of it, it's really, are we living our life for the experience and for our own soul? Or are we living our life in a place where we're perpetuating this thing that we don't really quite understand and don't really enjoy that much?
Yeah, for sure.
Put it simply.
Yeah. What about the kind of one of the things that I know you're doing and speaking about is the kind of sexual interference programming, whether it's porn or just a whole kind of program people are subjected to, whereas sexual energy is sacred and divine and a great way of connecting. It seems to be it's being used in a great way of kind of separation.
Oh, this is my favorite topic because it's so important. And I'm going to touch a little bit on this, but I've got a great webinar called Sex and the War on Consciousness on my YouTube channel. I really go into all the details about this on Earth Star Healer. But basically, the great deception is that the truth is that the sexual energy is all energy, and all energy is sexual energy. And the way that our physical human bodies experience and channel this universal life force energy that is flowing through all things is through channeling it through our sexual energy. And so the great deceivers or controllers, they all understand this and they know this, which is why they create such a separation inside ourselves to keep that sexual energy in the lower chakras, to distort our belief systems and understanding of sexuality to be something shameful or gross, so that we are separate from actually owning and channeling, being empowered to use that creative energy to create things that we truly love in our soul. And so if they're able to control and distort our beliefs of sexual energy, and they're able to siphon it through our attention, so if we are watching pornography, for example, and we're just giving our sexual energy, we're just spraying it out there, that energy is being harvested, or that energy is being taken away from you, so you are actually not using that energy to create what you want, which is exactly what they want, so to speak. So it's very deep because it's like a complete shift of how we think about sex, right? It's like on the earth we think, oh, we have two people and they're fornicating and that's what sex is, but actually sex is an interchange of energy between our bodies and our earth. It is just the movement of life force, and I think this is the true understanding and practice of Tantra, that we become we start to experience this great love and care in every exchange of energy within and around us. And I think this is a way that we reclaim this energy and begin to become responsible with it, because we are each responsible for creating the world. And we can say, oh, this thing outside of us is controlling us and it is creating this false matrix, but no, it can't actually create anything without us doing it. And so if more people can become completely self-responsible in our self-leadership, then we can create this new world in no time.
Yeah.
And Steve, I would love to actually just share a little bit about this activation school that I have, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
So I run this year-long container with two beings, and it's a really finely curated starseed activation container. So as I said, it took me 7 years to fully awaken and embody and walk into my mission. But a lot of that time was spent kind of really confused, not sure what I was doing, running into walls and all this stuff. and they were telling me that it was going to take me 7 years because there wasn't that many people around me that could really direct me in a good way. But once I had walked into this embodiment, then I would be able to hold this door open for more people to really live their purpose. So I was matched up with these two amazing beings through synchronicity and dream time. And they teach internal family systems, which is a really incredible shamanic modality dealing with fragmented inner parts and inner children. And then we work with the human design system to really figure out, what our own codes and our own soul purpose and our gifts are. And then we go into a segment about lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. And then the fourth segment is with me, where we learn advanced light work and multidimensional energy work. We're beginning to look at the world in this multidimensional lens and learning to embody our creatorship, where we are really consciously navigating and co-creating this new earth in this very fundamental level. So this whole course is a year long, and it includes 10 sessions with all of us. And people have just really revolutionized their lives and created whole new realities with the tools that they're learning. And it's called the New Earth Self-Leadership Academy. And I just had a dream yesterday. It's really kind of like the X-Men, Dr. Xavier's School for Mutants, because in my dream yesterday, I was like bilocating into places. I looked down and my body wasn't there, and then it started materializing, and then we were going on these astral field trips around the earth through the portal systems that the Sasquatch and the fairy people use. And then we were flying around the earth, creating these giant vaults in the ground with our psychic capabilities. It was just amazing. It's like the astral version of the school.
Very good. Well, let me ask you. We're moving from false matrix back to organic matrix, something that's restoring humanity. Can you say something about this restoration? Maybe the impact of starseeds as well, helping with this.
Yeah, so I think that starseeds are beings from other dimensions, could be even from mystical dimensions of the earth, previous ages of the earth. But could also be other star systems. And I think that there are a lot of starseeds who are here to both assist in what's happening on the earth and to gain experience and because to help their home planet heal, because what's happening on the earth right now is also relating to an infiltration of artificial intelligence. And this sinister force has kind of done this to other planets already. The Earth is not the first place this whole weird false matrix thing have happened. And so there are certain planets in the universe that have been destroyed or completely transformed into a metal object that is completely lifeless. And so there are lots of beings from all over the universe right now on Earth to bring their special abilities and gifts and scientific knowledge to combat and find a solution to healing the universe from this artificial intelligence. And I know it sounds crazy. There's an amazing book called The 9 Waves of Creation by Carl Johann Kallmann. And he talks about the map of the universe and how the ancient peoples, like the Mayans and the Aztec and the Chinese, have these references to the tree of life, and how the tree of life is actually a map of the universe, and it's just how the light kind of spreads out through the universe. And as the scientists have studied the topography of the universe, they found out that actually there are two halves. There's a light half and a dark half, and it just means that there's way more stars in one half and not so many stars on the other half. So it looks like one half is really bright, another half is really dark. And it happens that the Earth is literally in the middle, on this middle axis of the universe. So of course that talks about then, like, we're in this really epic place in the universe where we're able to find this balance, and we're able to find great solutions for things, for illnesses that are universal. And I think that some people will hear that and go, well, that's crazy. And then some people will hear that and be like, yeah, that's my life.
Right.
And so
Wow. It's amazing connecting with you. See, I know you're going to offer a little meditation for everyone to get a feel of your work. So I'll pass it over to you whenever you're ready.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been so fun connecting with you and your people. Thank you so much for bringing me on and doing this. I'm so grateful and honored to be here. So this modality that I work with, I'm calling it source field because it's kind of the movement of our awareness into 7D consciousness. And the way that I understand 7D consciousness is that we are fully immersed in the field of everything. We are no longer just the cells and the consciousness inside our body, but we're really palpably and viscerally experiencing and feeling our consciousness inside the pillow or in that grass or in that tree. And I think science calls this brainwave state the theta brainwave state, which is actually why the theta healing modality works as it does, because we're really tuning into creator consciousness, 7D consciousness, the field of everything. So as we begin this meditation, I invite you to sit or lie down, whatever is most comfortable for you. We're just going to begin by taking some long, deep breaths into our belly. And we're intentionally inviting all of the energy and pieces of ourself that may be flying around out there. Bring it all back into this now moment, washing clear with the love light of Source. And breathing all of that new energy that belongs to you back into your body. Breathing down deep into the parts of our body that we're not always aware of, like underneath our feet, in our ankles and our knees. And as we're breathing into our body, we're filling it up with the loving light of our own soul's essence. For our process today, we're going to work on opening the portals in our feet chakras. So we're spiraling this golden, bright teal blue light down our legs and through the center of our feet. We're opening this energy center and allowing energy to balance and neutralize through our body into the earth. Really experiencing this visceral physical oneness that we are with our living mother planet. What this does is that it first opens up the kidney meridian and allows stagnant fear and pain. Of course, once it exits the body, it just becomes energy so that it can be recycled. It's not stuck in our body in that signature of that fear or that pain. So as this energy is flowing out of our legs, out of our feet, and as this energy is actually watering and replenishing the earth, We feel a water energy spiral back up through the earth, back into our bodies as we're being nourished by the living life force of our oneness. I'm inviting that swirling energy to move up now into the solar plexus as we renew our sense of power within our own body and our own self. And Source, we're commanding for any vibrations or geometries of disempowerment, aloneness, the energy of not being able to, or being small, being too small to inflict any real change. All these geometries of powerlessness who are restoring and clearing out of our energy body. Just breathe. Allow the energy and the field to work for you. And just relax and allow the energy to move through your body. And Source, we're commanding for a download of the Creator's perspective of true empowerment and the true power that each body and each soul has to create new worlds. We want to feel into the organic divine truth of this, not in our own belief systems or in our own brain, but actually releasing ourselves from our own individual self and relaxing and releasing ourselves into Source knowing and allowing the understanding that Source has of the power that we each hold, allowing that truth to percolate into our body. And just hold that incredible freedom in our body for a moment. So with this download and this new integration of this cosmic truth of our power, we each then become a sovereign, responsible steward of our reality. And we have to understand that as star beings or as beings, as light workers, we understand that we create the whole reality with our consciousness and our frequency. And so the most empowering and powerful thing we can do for the universe right now is to restore and clear out all the distortions in our own body. We can't point fingers in the external reality about things that are distorted if those distortions are still existing inside our own body. And this is the phase that we're in. I don't imagine we'll be in this phase for much longer if everyone can really just focus on this. And it's amazing the kind of ripples and shifts in the physical external reality that we will see, even if just 10 people are in this space of complete soul embodiment with no tangles, no distortions in our own. And it's really quite a fun journey. There's just so many layers of our own self that we get to discover as we do this work. So as a closing, I'm going to pull in these blankets of golden light energy to cover your body with the intention that all of the shifts that were made today that are in resonance with our highest love and highest truth and highest joy are permanent. We send our love to the earth and to all the beloved family members all around the planet and the universe. Thank you so much for being here.